Live from New York. The show that's not buying your new nicknames.
It's so dumb.
What are you talking about?
We're just surrounded by young people.
But when was this happening?
It's not. It's fake thing that's happened by a couple Twitter feeds, and now they're like, oh, everyone's calling Cade Cunningham the Paradox. It's not.
You know what I like? Shaq Diesel.
Yeah, I like that. Shaq Diesel. That's a nickname.
Again,
Yeah.
you know,
King James.
Yeah.
Air Jordan.
Yeah.
Or his-
Dr. J.
His
He
air
Dr.
is
J
good.
is good.
Magic.
Magic.
How about Magic?
Larry Bird
Well, Bird,
flies around to the rim.
which he never did,
That's
actually.
why it was a weird name.
Well, I do agree that a Steph wide open three is a higher percentage shot than a Draymond Green layup. That I do agree.
Right, Draymond man played a role, a bigger role in that outcome
It's
than he
amazing.
thought.
And then even years later, they were just leaving me open from three. They were so scared of him. And I couldn't believe it.
Wide open 20-footers. I mean, they never guard me.
You know, it's just reaction to the
No, I mean,
GOAT
listen,
case.
This is not an allowable opinion. It's not. It is an allowable opinion. He's the greatest point guard ever. I disagree with it.
He could be. That's a conversation.
That is a conversation.
Yes.
And again, words and monikers and designations have to mean something, or else they mean nothing. And if everyone's in the GOAT conversation, then no one's in the GOAT conversation. If a top 10 just means he was awesome and is top 25, then nothing is special. And so so there's a million reasons to look at it. First, I just want to do the Magic thing quickly, Brew. Because people don't remember, and by the way, Magic, half his career, or the beginning of his career, I wasn't even alive. And I'm 40 years old, so I get it. So I would just break Magic's career down into two parts. Here's the first 3 years for Magic Johnson. 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs in his first 3 seasons, including what some people think is the greatest game ever, the 42, 15, and 7 as a rookie to win a championship over Dr. J and the Sixers. Here's the reason I'm showing you these first 3 seasons. He wasn't good yet. Because here's the next 9. 3 league MVPs, all 9 years top 3 MVP, all 9 years first team All-NBA, 3 more rings, another finals MVP, and made the finals 7 of the 9 times. So the argument for Magic Johnson are those 2 graphics. And so again, but I'll listen to the argument for Steph about in point guard. I'll listen to it. Right. But the greatest, what everyone who is in the actual GOAT conversation, if we make it as liberal as possible, Brew, which includes the 3 guys you and I think are the whole conversation, LeBron, Kareem, and Michael, add in Magic, add in Wilton Russell for the old timers, because that's the kind of list you gave me, was decade plus dominance. So I just did this, top 3 MVP finishes in your career, 11, 10, 9, 9, 9, 7, 3. You are one of the greatest players ever. And by the way, Brew, nothing would help LeBron's GOAT case more than if Steph Curry was widely considered the 2nd greatest player ever. And so it's in my interest to try to build him up. But the reality has to be the reality, and we can't be such prisoners of the moment that everybody's in the GOAT conversation. They're not. He's not.
Yeah, first of all, we need to get some definitions. Does top 10 mean 10? No. Or does it mean like 17?
That's what I'm saying.
Or
like
14?
It means like 17.
Right? Okay. All right.
A lot.
Does GOAT, what is conversation? The conversation for the GOAT is this person possibly the greatest player ever?
Which we're discussing.
And I don't think, and maybe Draymond would say, is anyone, and I love Steph. All right, I believe, I might be wrong. I think I was the first one to say he's the greatest shooter ever.
Yep.
ESPN
right
around 2015, I said it. I think I was the first. I didn't hear anybody say it before me.
That's why you're the GOAT.
I've said, I don't think I was the first on this, he is the greatest small player ever. Eclipsing Isaiah Thomas. And Isaiah's been bothered with me about that. But
you put him in the all-time top 10 as early as anybody I saw. I know that.
So I love Steph. Nick, I don't anyone that will say with a straight face, he is the greatest player ever?
I don't think Dell would say it.
Shaq and Draymond said it.
No, they didn't.
No,
They want to
exactly.
be in the conversation.
Right.
But their conversation probably includes 12 guys, maybe.
Right. So that's the thing is, you in order to be, and then I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Bro, I apologize. I think what Brew and I are both saying is this. In order to be in the conversation, there has to be people that actually believe you're at the top of the conversation.
Yes.
And I'm saying I don't think Steph, Dell, or Seth thinks Steph is the greatest player of all time. Maybe Aisha, and that's it. And so, like, I just...
That's probably very accurate.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
so, there has to be someone who says you're the GOAT and mean it.
And I said yesterday, Magic, I think it's Michael, LeBron, and Kareem. That's the because now there are some people that say Magic is the greatest.
Some people say Wilt. Like,
right.
Yeah.
But those three that I have, they were great defensive players. And I showed the graphic yesterday. We don't have to show it again, but there it is. They made multiple all-defensive teams, were viewed as like a top 2 or 3 defender in the league during their prime. Steph was hunted.
And subbed out at the end of games.
Yes, by the Cavs. In those finals, they looked for him. Luka, as much as you and I like him, I think Luke's going to win championships. I love watching him with he's fantastic. Yeah, he's not going to be the GOAT.
He's a great defensive player
defend.
when you look at not when you look at it now.
But that's the same thing we've said. Luka could be the greatest. Like, his ceiling was the greatest offensive player. But go ahead.
Can I make an argument? I think what Shaq and Draymond are saying, that if we're having a GOAT college football playoff, he wants Steph to have a chance at it.
No, but
he wants them in the conversation. That's it. In the conversation is a bar unto itself. He wants them to cross into that.
I agree, but that's just Nick is right. That to be in the conversation, there has to be a chance that you are actually the GOAT.
The GOAT. There is.
Yes,
Wilds,
he is the GOAT shooter.
Wilds,
but that's not. But there's more to it than that.
Wilds. There is no GOAT college football playoff. It is a GOAT BCS. And sad but not fair, Kareem's the third seed that didn't get in. Like, that's what it's been. Now, I think Kareem
is the best, I think the best college player ever.
No. I'm not saying college.
General.
I'm saying the old BCS where it was just the top 2 teams. I'm saying the GOAT, the NBA GOAT conversation is that.
It's usually
it is
just
turned into LeBron
MJ.
versus Michael. And I think there is a strong argument for Kareem. There is no, those, it's not about what these other guys weren't. It's about what those 3 guys were. I think that's maybe a nicer frame to put on.
Sure. Right. We don't want to shoot down anyone.
I am interested. Like, maybe we can do it another day. Maybe it's better for your solo podcast. I don't know.
Check that out.
I think there is a really interesting conversation of Steph, Duncan, Shaq, Kobe. Those 4 careers, all of whom they couldn't be more different players. They all won 4 or 5 rings. They all have different, pros and cons to them. They're like how you would rank those 4. You know what I mean? I think that's the conversation that I think is a legitimate one. Like, and what I find so interesting about the Steph GOAT part of it is some of the people making the argument should be in the GOAT conversation. Also, I think if you're like, hey, who was better, Steph or Kobe? They'd be like, well, Kobe.
Right. They wouldn't even say
they won't.
It's close.
I think you're one of those people.
Well, yeah, probably.
You think he should be in Steph should be in the conversation?
I like the idea of being in the conversation as an accolade unto itself.
That's what top
now, once
10
you
is
have the
supposed to be.
conversation, you guys proved that he belongs in the conversation. I know you think you didn't because you just did 12 minutes and 10 seconds. Well,
here's the other thing.
You're like, he's like Magic. He's now anchored to Magic.
He can be the point guard conversation, Magic or Steph, is legitimate. I would take Magic, but there's an argument there for Steph. But best player ever. Here's the other thing. Draymond said nobody's guarded ever been guarded or schemed for like Steph. First of all, wasn't there something called the Jordan rules?
Well,
that was a different scheme, but they beat him up. They literally everything was focused on him.
Again,
Shaq double and triple
not at all like you guard him, but where he was guarded unlike anyone else.
Yeah, and Reggie Miller was guarded like Steph. Now, they didn't run pick and roll as much back then, but otherwise, Reggie running around off screens and stuff. No, but seriously. Steph is guarded that because he's running off screens all the time.
Why Reggie only averaged 18 a game for his career.
Back then they were scoring 80 points a game, so it was an equivalent of 25 today. Okay. But no, come on.
Can I just say one other thing to you before we go?
About the Mavs.
You're saying you like the conversation or that it should be an accolade.
Yeah.
What I think Brew and I are saying is, if the definitions and stuff mattered, then it would feel like a real accolade when people call Steph Curry top 10. Because top 10's been watered down to 20.
Right.
Now everything's got to get watered down. Because, top 10's not good enough because Durant just got thrown in there. Jokic and Giannis and anybody who's got a couple MVPs is awesome is thrown in there. So now it's got to be GOAT. If we were actually cared about the words we're saying, we mean them. And when Brew did this top 10, he sketched it out, made 10, and found room for Steph. Then that would be an accolade unto itself. And so that's...
I just like it.
Accolades, they have accolades.
I know, but
MVP, All-Star, All-NBA,
like Jadakiss says he's top 5 dead or alive. Yeah. Can I name 5 MCs better than Jadakiss?
Don't do it. Jadakiss, big viewer of the show.
I understand, but of course you can. But is Jadakiss top 5 dead or alive? Absolutely. 100%. Meanwhile, in L.A., Lakers owner Jeanie Buss did an interview with NPR to promote Running Point on Netflix. You got Kate Hudson in it.
Yeah.
Got Chet Hanks. Yeah. It's supposed to be good. My brother watched it, said he liked it. Here she is on the Luka trade. We have lost the last 3 years in a row to the Nuggets. Not actually. Just felt like it. And we really didn't have anything that was going to look different.
Not actually.
Anthony Davis was complaining about where he was being played, and he wasn't happy. So I think this was a positive for both teams. Okay. That's from Jeanie Buss.
People are looking at this, and I get it, as Jeanie taking a shot at AD.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that, because she may have been. She probably was. I look at it, though, she's low. She may not, I don't think this was her intention. She's complimenting AD.
Oh.
Because she's making it look like we only traded AD because he was unhappy and he didn't want to play center.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is this. AD could have been as happy as a clam. AD could have, every day after every game, AD could have given a soliloquy about how I am so fortunate and so excited about being a Lakers center, following in the likes of Mikan and Chamberlain and Jabbar and Shaq. He could have played 82 games a year, never had an injury.
Yeah.
And they still would have traded him for Luka Doncic because Luka Doncic is better.
And
period.
6 years younger.
There's no doubt.
Fair.
So AD should lean into this. AD should be like, yeah, look, I love LeBron, that's my guy. Love the Lakers, but I didn't want to play center anymore. And I let it be known, and they didn't lean into it. Because the truth is, AD, you just ain't as good as Luka. And the Lakers trade you because of that.
Better than being on the other side of the worst trade in the history of sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's another bad look. But yeah, that's all it is, too.
So that was great.
True, too.
I found this quote infuriating for a number of reasons. One is wrong. They've lost the Nuggets 2 years in a row, not 3. That's fine. So that's the first thing. The other one is wildly insulting to J.J. Redick when you say, quote, didn't have anything that was going to look different. Well, then why change coaches?
Just for they were going to run into Denver and lose again.
But I don't know
They
that.
definitely weren't going. They didn't have really a real chance to win.
Well, hold on.
You think they did?
No. I'm saying I don't know that. I know that we all think Denver is worse than it was last year. Denver lost to the Timberwolves in round 2 last year. And I do think JJ has made this team markedly better. And we saw that before the Luka trade. They were in a way better position than they were at this point last year. I wouldn't have picked them against Denver, but to me, it wasn't as much of a fait accompli as it looked like last season. But here's the other thing. There's no reason to say this. When you are asked about this is what you do if you're Jeanie Buss. With respect to a guy who delivered you a championship, and by the way, Anthony Davis, if you're so worried about Jokic, was the last big to outplay Nikola Jokic in a playoff series, was Anthony Davis. It was 5 years ago, but no one's done it since then. This is what you say. Listen, I'll be totally honest with you. 2 months ago, if you'd have asked me what our future plans for Anthony Davis are, I would have said publicly, well, he's going to be the face of our franchise for the next decade, we hope. He's going to take the reins from LeBron when LeBron, if and when LeBron ever slows down, AD is going to have it. That's why we signed him to an extension. That's what I would have said publicly. Privately, if my closest confidant asked me what I think about Anthony Davis, I'd tell him, well, he's going to, unless Jokic, Giannis, or Luka come available, he's our guy. And my God, one of them did. And it's not even that. It's nothing against Anthony. But it is that this player is younger, one of we think, maybe the best player in the league, and can take this franchise for the next 15 years. We love Anthony Davis. We appreciate him, and there aren't 4 people alive we would have answered the phone about. But one of the 3 that they called and offered him to us. That's all you got to say. He won a championship for you. He was great in that playoff run. Great.
He was.
And he has been, the last couple years has been available, healthy, and because you didn't like that he said, I don't love playing center. Like, Anthony Davis is not a headache. He's not I understand that quote pissed him off. I just hated, there was no reason to blow out Anthony Davis's candle. Like, everyone's already giving you guys all the praise in the world.
But
I
did
just
she
didn't
say
like
anything wrong?
He
didn't. He was kind of complaining about playing center. He did it every year. He complained about it. All right. And I don't know that he wasn't happy. He looked awfully happy when the trade came down.
It did.
Well,
and I think maybe it's because he just wanted to play 4.
Yeah.
I get that. I know he's tight with LeBron and all that, but he definitely seemed a lot happier than Luka.
No, well, there's no question about that, and I get all that. I just think you can not be saying anything that's wrong without it being unnecessary to say it. And I think that
it wasn't necessary.
Right. It was, to me, it was. And if I know, Wilds, you think this is nothing, and you before the show even questioned whether or not I was going to focus on this piece of it a little bit. I care about the owner of the team not knowing the playoff history as well as the average fan does. And by the way, losing to a team 2 years in a row in the playoffs is different than losing to a team 3 years in a row in the playoffs. It does feel like more impossible to overcome if it's 3. Ask the Bills, it's 4. And that's not even all in a row. And so I just didn't like it. And I thought it was unnecessary. I think everything's so positive right now for the Lakers, kind of kicking Anthony Davis on the way out. It's unnecessary.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.